Okay. Do you like football? Yes, me too. In 19, I'm gonna tell you this short but nice story about football that has to do with dignity. This story is gonna bring you some nostalgia also. In 1936, the Nazi Germans organized the Berlin Olympics. As you may remember, in 1936, Germany was getting ready to start the Second World War, which in fact started 3 years later in 1939. The Nazi Germans wanted to demonstrate the superiority of the Aryan race. What a great opportunity, the Olympics, to show the world they were the smartest, the strongest, and they were a superior race. By the way, in this Olympics, the Black American athlete Jesse Owens won 4 gold medals. But something else happened in these Olympics. The Peruvian team was participating in the football competition. In the first game, Peru had defeated Finland 7-3 and classified for the quarterfinals. Meanwhile, Germany had lost to Norway, and now the German authorities, the Nazi authorities, turned their attention to Austria. Austria, the hometown country of Adolf Hitler. And Peru had to face Austria in quarterfinals. The day of the game, the official authorities, the Nazi official authorities, sitting in the main tribune of the Berlin Stadium, expecting see their team to win. The game started. Austria scored first 2 times. Peru tied, and they had to go to play an extra time. In this extra time, the Peruvian team showed his superiority. The Peruvian team included a group of fantastic players called the Black Roller. Called so because the color of their skin and the power of their football. In this extra time, Peru won 4-2. Even they got 3 goals invalidated by the referee. Can you imagine how these Nazi officials felt when they saw their team losing to a black squad of players from Peru? That after the game, that night, the Olympic Committee met and they decided to invalidate that game, arguing that some Peruvian fans invaded the field violently, and they ordered to play again. The Peruvian delegation protested, of course, and didn't want to play again, and they decided to withdraw from the Olympics and return to Peru. This resolution from the Olympics was so unfair that Colombia, that was also participating in the Olympics, withdrew in solidarity with Peru. You know, this is a small but meaningful story of dignity in sports. If I had heard this story from a Peruvian national, I would have said, well, this is probably some kind of bias in this story. But I heard this from the great journalist, the Uruguayan journalist and writer, Eduardo Galeano. Eduardo Galeano says in an interview, I told my Peruvian friends, why don't you teach this to your kids in the school and tell them, you know, kids, you belong to a country that once humiliated Adolf Hitler. Let me tell you one more thing about Eduardo Galeano. He wrote this magnificent quote. In this quote, when he says they, he refers to the Spaniard conquerors that came to conquer America. And when he says we, he refers to the Native Americans. Please listen to this quote to finish my speech. They came, we had the land, and they had the Bible. And they said, close your eyes and pray. When we opened the eyes, they had the land, and we had the Bible. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Ciro, for such an informative and nice